Slide to the left, slide to the right. Reverse.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We're back playing a little bit of line dancing up in here tonight. Everybody's giving me grief about the music as they do every week, but
not me. I like it.
I don't even really care. So ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. It's time for the part of the show where Marcus J, Carlton Banks, Big Rube, special guest Tony, we all look around at each other and we go, what the hell? What the hell is going on with people? The first story I want to get into and what the hell tonight is kind of sad, but just a little bit silly. Big Rube, I'm going to defer to him when he comes back. He stepped out the room for just a moment. Carlton Banks, last week we talked about Prince William and Princess Kate announcing the pregnancy of the princess. She's having a baby. Woohoo! Everybody's happy. Yeah, I don't give a damn about the royals. I really don't give a damn about the royals. But what we're going to talk about is the fact that an Australian radio team called up the hospital where the princess was being treated, and they presented themselves as the queen. The nurse who answered the phone was not aware she was being pranked. She thought it was actually the queen calling up asking for information about Princess Kate. So of course she gives information. Now first of all, at the time, and we didn't talk about this angle of the story, we really only talked about the fact she was pregnant. We didn't get into the whole prank thing. I think the prank thing was last weekend, and for whatever reason we didn't talk about it. I don't know about y'all, but we on the other side of the water, and I think we smart enough to know that kings and queens and presidents and heads of state, they probably not going to call a hospital themselves to get information on someone's care. Carlton Banks. The next piece of the story is obviously when it was revealed to be a prank, there was all kinds of embarrassment from the hospital and ridicule, and I'm sure there was some criminal investigative work that was done and that sort of thing. Under the weight of all of that scrutiny, the woman nurse who took the call has committed suicide. She killed herself. So Carlton Banks, I'm going to start with you on this one. What the hell is going on with people where they kill themselves over embarrassment?
I mean, that's just like people who do things over being bullied. It's nothing that I can really speak upon in that regards. I mean, it is what it is. It's just what that person decides to do and how they'll decide on handling it. So I really can't expound on it. I mean, I know what you're looking for, but
I'm not really. I mean, if you got nothing, that's cool, because I really didn't have much with it either. I mean, it was a follow up to the story that we talked about last week, so I wanted to at least put it out there. I wish Big Rube was in the room with us right now, because we know what his response is going to be. He's going to talk about natural selection. Yeah, natural selection, and this person commits suicide behind being embarrassed. Tony, I don't know if you've heard the story prior, but now after having heard about it, what's your thoughts on this woman killing herself? Because I keep saying she killed herself because she was embarrassed, but really, what other reason can we think of other than her really honestly being embarrassed?
Yeah, I did actually hear about it earlier, I guess the end of last week or over the weekend. And in this situation, well, I don't think it's ever, acceptable or understandable that someone would take their own life because they're embarrassed. And I truly, think that as in most cases, there is some underlying mental health issue that she had. And I saw something about the police at the beginning weren't necessarily linking the two incidents together. But it just doesn't make sense. And so many people were, in uproar about this woman taking her life after this prank call, which is, and they're all mad at the two radio show hosts who did the prank call. It was a prank. People get pranked every day. And, I mean, it sounds like it might have been pretty funny, but to take your life, I don't think you can hold these two people accountable for this woman taking her life over a prank call.
I saw it. I should say I heard it. I heard the prank, and I mean, I don't know what the Queen sounds like, so I can't really say whether they sounded like her or not. I thought it was in poor taste, personally, but most jokes are in poor taste. I mean, so I didn't really think anything of it, and but I also know how serious people take the royal family. And we talked about this last week. We talked about how people were worldwide when Princess Diana got married to the prince, and throughout her life and raising her children, and then her death, and how people around the world were affected. So anytime there's going to be some sort of news with the royal family, you're going to get some sort of worldwide media coverage. So I guess on the one hand, I somewhat understand her embarrassment and her being distraught, but the fact that she killed herself behind this, I really don't understand. Now, Big Rube has just rejoined us. I'm gonna go ahead and set it up very, very quickly for him. The story that we talked about last week with the Royals having the new baby, the Australian radio group who pranked the nurse, and the nurse subsequently commits suicide behind it. The three of us have given our opinions on it. Real curious to know in more than 2 words what your thoughts are, because I could pretty much guess the 2 words that you are going to utilize. We're going to need more than just natural selection on this one. Big Rope?
First of all, yes, I was going to use natural selection.
Of course.
Because, I mean, I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel about it. It is what it is. Second of all, the radio people, I mean, are they at fault? Unfortunately, they are. Because when you do pranks, then you are responsible for what happens. So, do I feel like they should be held in some sort of law for it? Hell yeah. I'm sorry. You do a prank that you put on the radio. You put on the radio, which means you probably got internet, so a whole bunch of people heard it, and now it's on Facebook and all this other stuff. And then a woman kills herself. Man, that's what, in America that would be manslaughter too.
I don't know enough legally to know.
That would be manslaughter.
I don't know what the charge would be, but say what you will about laws and all of that stuff. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I don't want to be. I did stay at a Holiday Inn once, but I don't. Yeah, I know. But personally, I mean, for me, you can have your laws. I get all of that, but then there's a little thing called common sense, and just because something may be against the law doesn't necessarily mean it's right or wrong. Let me explain what I mean by that. Was it the right thing to play this prank? No. Was it a criminal act? No. The fact that this person killed herself because her feelings was hurt, it's kind of a her problem. I'm not really seeing where.
Didn't she lose her job?
I mean, but she gave out the information. Now, what I mentioned when you were outside of the room, and I think it's relevant to this point of the conversation. What intelligent person thinks that the head of state or a royal person or anybody is going to personally call to get status of a loved one at a hospital? I mean, it's one thing to show up. It's quite another to call on the phone. Don't you think she got people for that? I mean, really?
Yeah, but I guess my thing is,
and I'm speaking as if I'm her. Like, why are you talking?
However, usually what happens is in overseas, pranks are a little different because their lifestyles are a little different. But over here, when you do a prank, they let you know, hey, it's a prank, guys. Don't go do stupid stuff. Whatever. And the whole thing is a prank, and everybody knows it's a prank. So, you know it's a prank, so you can be like, oh, yada, yada, yada. Whatever. Now, one, she did give the information. That was pretty stupid. Hence, which goes to my natural selection. Two, real talk, they should at least told the woman it was a prank at the end of it, and they didn't. So that is their responsibility, or at least call the woman back up and yo, it's a prank. You're on the radio. Oh, we're gonna give you $1,000 because you probably about to lose your job. Whatever. See, that's why I feel as a radio person or a former radio person, if you're gonna do this type of stuff, you have to then decide what you're gonna do. And to me, a prank like this was over the top. This prank should have never been carried out because, one, I guess they really didn't think they would ever get the information. But guess what? You found somebody who's on natural selection who gave it to you. Guess what?
Yeah, but how is that
their fault?
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, Ruben. Don't get me wrong, man. I get it. But where you lose me is how you prosecute someone criminally because they killed themselves.
Because you don't know on the phone who you gonna get. It may be one of us who, for the most part, from what I understand, everybody's pretty cool in here. Or you may get the natural selection person who basically will just go crazy because she can't believe she believed everything he said, because there are some people in this world who got the gift. And they'll talk you to an ice cube and you live out in Antarctica. That's how it is. And she was so embarrassed that she fell for it. And then she gave information, because she could have given that information to anybody. And she thought in her mind, wow, worst case scenario, somebody might try to come kill her. And it'll be all my fault, yada yada. I can't live like this. Hence where natural selection kicks in. Because normal people don't think like that.
But how is that any different from, you being in a relationship with someone who has some sort of mental illness and you breaking up with that person or ending that relationship, and that person takes their own life, because they just can't deal with that? Should you be held accountable for that natural selection?
Yeah, I like the way you do the air quotes. But and that's a very interesting statement. And in that situation, no. However, full advance what you got before you get rid of it. It's not like they knew who this woman was or what she had mentally going on with her. The problem I have with the whole radio people is some things you just can't prank. And to me, that is something that you should not prank. Calling a hospital is not cool. But for anybody, regardless of who it was.
Of England, let me tell you, 100% of the people I know, if somebody called them and said, "This is President Obama," they would say, "Man, who is this? Stop playing." That would be the first thing that would come out of their mouth. They would not say, "Oh, yes, Your Majesty." How no.
But see, you run the risk of having somebody like that. And what they should have done when they realized this chick was about to give up info, they would be like, "Ho, stop! This is a prank." And they didn't do that.
No,
and that was,
that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the.
But and you know what? Y'all think that's funny? That's irresponsible.
I don't think it's funny, and I agree. No,
it's not even about that. It's not even about that. It's irresponsibility, because basically they knew at a certain point that this chick was about to give up information.
I understand it's irresponsible, and I understand all of that. But where is it criminal? That's where you lose me.
Where is it criminal?
Where is it criminal?
Because they had the ability to stop her from doing what she was about to do.
That's her problem, dude. It's her problem. It's her problem.
But she was already on the edge, and that one incident.
Well, it's not the fact it's not the fact she was on the. It's not the fact she was on the edge. It was the fact that, let's just be real. If you called up somebody, like if you called up a hospital, real talk, and you were looking to kill somebody, and this is out there, and you found somebody who would give you that information. First of all, if you found somebody who would really give you that information, they shouldn't be working there. And they realized they got to a point where she really believed them. That's when they should have stopped. And that's why I find it their responsibility, because basically they continued on with this act knowing full well that they were about to get everything they wanted and broadcast it. Nah, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. I find that not to be cool, and I do find that to be a criminal act, because basically that's just being on the witness stand and you having somebody perjure themselves.
Well, we'll agree to disagree on that. Ain't no how stab with Marcus J. Moving on to the next story that makes you say, what the hell? Last week, we had a personal friend of mine, Miss T of the NYPD, not her real name, who came on the show and talked to us about the officer who had given the shoes to the homeless person. She knew the officer personally, and she, basically said, nice things about the officer. Well, there's a follow-up to this story. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, it's got nothing to do with the officer. It has everything to do with the, air quotes, homeless man. Come to find out, Mr. Jeffrey Hillman was not exactly homeless. He was someone who was a veteran, who lived off of the government, and apparently he had multiple issues that kept him from being in the workforce, and basically Big Rube, Carlton Banks, Marcus J, and Miss Tony is paying for his apartment in the Bronx. When tracked down by the media to be asked about it, he admitted that he had a place to live, and he also admitted that he still has the boots, but he was hiding those boots because they're now worth some money. Tony, I'm gonna come to you first on this one. You weren't with us last week, but we know you were listening because you're always listening when you're not with us. What's your thoughts on this? I mean, this guy. Well, I won't set it up any further. What's your thoughts, and then I'll share mine.
Yeah, I saw that follow-up story, and I mean, it seems like, you know, several governmental agencies have tried to help this guy. He does have, you know, an actual place to live. He has, I think, his family in Pennsylvania who is, you know, willing and able to help him. And it just seems to me, you know, at a certain point, you can only try to help someone so much, and if they don't want that help, then, you know, he chooses to live on the streets, then let someone who really wants and needs that place to stay have it.
Well, the thing is, he isn't living on the street. That's the cool part, Big Rube. He was at work. He is a panhandler. That's what he does. He actually lives. He has a place to live, and he, instead of working some of the jobs that could have been provided to him based on the assistance that he gets, he chooses not to do that. He chooses to panhandle instead. His high school class of 1976 has taken up a what do you call it when you put the money in the hat?
Donation.
The donation to try to assist him because they feel afraid for his mental stability. His older brother is the person you alluded to in Pennsylvania who's also trying to help him out, but he's choosing not to. Now, I'm going to take an odd kind of way to look at this. While I have absolutely all kinds of issues with the dude having an apartment and faking like he's homeless, I don't have a problem with him accepting gifts. If you're gonna give somebody, if you're gonna be that guy that's giving stuff, forget that he's an officer, forget that for a second, because we've all seen that person who sits on the corner and is asking for stuff, and depending on what kind of mood you're in and whoever you are, we know Big Rube's not one of those people, but you know, people in this room is probably giving $1 or so. Certainly people in the listening audience has given money away. So let's play devil's advocate here. Has Mr. Hillman, I believe his name, has he done anything wrong, Big Rube?
No, he's just a grade A douchebag.
Oh boy!
No,
he hasn't done anything wrong.
No, he hasn't done. Well, listen to me. He hasn't done anything wrong. But that stuff's messed up. How you gonna sit here and basically that's just like the dude in Henrico who is suing the city because he can't panhandle in the middle of the street. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. I feel bad for the dude. But if you have a house and you don't need money for anything, now if you want to hang out, that's cool. But it's obvious that he perpetrates as he's homeless.
But he doesn't actually stay in the apartment, though, does he?
Yes, he lives in the apartment.
He lives in the apartment.
But we pay for that for him. No, yeah, that's a great douchebag. I'm sorry, I have an issue with that. I know Bryce is against me, and that's fine. But I think that's messed up.
Put it this way: if you're out there begging, you know my situation. Give me the money. All right, give me the money. I ain't gonna be out there on the streets.
I'm just saying.
Okay, I'll do something with the dollars.
We're giving this dude money for a room and board and board and stuff, and then he's gonna go out when he could have a regular job, just like most people, that the government is gonna fine for him, and he's gonna go out and do this, and then has the nerve when somebody gives him a gift, and pretty much don't fess up. Yo, man, I appreciate it, but I'm not really homeless and stuff like that. Nah, man, that's a grade A douchebag. I feel bad for him. He's got family who wants to help him. He's got people who want to give him money. I mean, I don't understand. A lot of these homeless people don't have family, and they out there because they have to be. And this dude is out there because he doesn't have to be, just hanging out, whatever. Nah, not cool.
I agree with you. I do. As far as calling him out his name, I'm not going to do that. But I agree with you. You know, we pay for where this dude lives, but at the same time, the only thing that I'll say to that is, I don't know that he is the one who perpetrated this whole thing about him being, the homeless person who accepted these boots. Like, that was media created.
But he
that ain't got
could
nothing to do
have
with him.
stopped that.
Yeah, but I mean, this is also the same person who disappeared for 2 weeks while they tried to find him, and they eventually found him on the street. Just because you got someplace don't mean that's where you be at.
Yeah, but
this was media created. This was a tourist. This was a tourist who saw something that she thought was cool,
because it was cool,
right? And she took a picture and she sent it to wherever she sent it. But Mr. Homeless Guy wasn't someone that said, "Hey, look, I'm getting some boots. Take my picture and put me on TV." Like, so he didn't perpetrate a fraud. He was out there panhandling, which is what people do, particularly in New York City. I don't see where he did anything wrong with regards to how this was media created.
No, I see where he did wrong after the fact.
You got issues with him panhandling, which I do as well.
Especially when he has family who's willing to help him.
Yep.
I got a problem with that.
Yep. Ain't no how Steppin with Marcus J. Couple of real quick hits. Everybody knows how I feel with regards to guns. I don't like them. Keep them away from me. I shot one once in my life. Too much power in my hands. I don't need it. The whole thing about it being your right as an American to hold a gun, yeah, cool. I get it. It's in the Constitution. Big whoop. That was back in the days when we didn't have police and we didn't have, military and all of that kind of stuff. You had to take care of yourself. I understand. It's your right. Cool. It's your right. But it's difficult to say it's your right when you get people like the girlfriend of the Kansas City Chiefs guy. You got the NRA talking about she should have had a gun too. Yeah, a gun is not going to save her from taking 9 shots. A gun is not going to save the little boy in Mercer or Sharpsville, Pennsylvania, who got shot by his dad by accident because his gun went off as he was getting out of his truck and shot and killed his 7-year-old boy. Gun control. He didn't control his gun. His 7-year-old's dead now. So let's talk about it. Go ahead.
Do they think that it was cool that everybody in the theater should have had guns in Colorado when old boy came shooting up? The NRA be pissing me off, man, because I understand the right to bear arms, but I get it, and I have no issue with that. But the NRA is like the worst. They perpetuate the fact that if you don't have guns, you're not an American. It's your right to have a gun, regardless of whatever happens. Ask Sean Taylor about that. Yeah, he didn't have a gun. He had a machete, and he didn't make it.
Yeah. So
you can see whether you think it's cool to have a gun or what, it is your right to have a gun, but it's not your right to go shoot somebody. Period. Y'all need to step off.
We're talking about gun violence. Just in the last week, we've had mainstream situations come up again with the Javon Belcher thing where he shoots his girlfriend 9 times. Then you got the situation as Big Rube alluded to earlier this year, what went on in Colorado. You got Virginia State. You got all of these situations, all of these incidences. Did I say Virginia State? I meant to say, I'm sorry, Virginia Tech. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was kidding. Oh, man.
About to get jumped.
I'm sorry, Virginia Tech. My apologies. No disrespect to any of the Virginia State people. Virginia Tech is what I meant. But again, seriously, you got all of this stuff that goes on, and we know it is your right to carry a gun. You even had the guy in Florida who shoots the kid in the backseat of the car because the music's too loud. So that's where I wanted to go. Tony, what's your thoughts on this whole gun thing?
I am I don't know. I don't feel that they are necessary. Like you said, we have police officers, we have military personnel who fight our quote unquote wars for us. And I don't think that normal, citizens need to carry around guns. I'm terrified of them. I was in the military, and it's a lot of power, and it's
in one person.
It's you can take a life in a second. And
on the live line, we got Larry joining on the discussion. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Mark? Haven't talked to you in a while. Enjoy the show.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling. What you got, man?
Even when I got a flu, I'm gonna still listen to you.
We appreciate it. Big win for your boys yesterday, man. What you want to get in on?
Oh, listen. Let me tell you something about the gun.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
I'm sorry. On the gun thing. All right. I'm on the opposite end. I hear your post saying, well, people shouldn't walk around with guns. And true, I don't walk around. I'm not an advocate of saying, well, no, you need to walk around and carry a gun with you everywhere you go. But I'm on the other side. Somebody walk up into your house, they ain't supposed to be there, going to do you harm, and you got your family there. You're going to use what you got to do, and if they're armed, I want to be armed also. And second of all, a criminal's going to be less likely to walk up into your house if you got a 12 gauge in there. They're going to say, hey, instead of me picking on this target, let me go to somebody that's not armed. I know you got the police and the military are there for carrying weapons, and they're trained to carry weapons. But the police ain't going to get there all the time. And half the time, they're gone. And as the NRA says, with criminals don't go to the store and buy guns, they register. I mean, they break into your house and steal them. I mean, I've had instances where somebody tried to get in my house one time. I was married one time. I wasn't married, but when they tried to get in, they heard the 12 gauge rack, they left. I just can't. Unfortunately, we live in a society, excuse me, live in a society where, guns have been a part of America as long as America's been here. It's right and wrong. I mean, that's just who we are. I mean, you can go to a country like England where people they don't carry guns. And they don't have the level of crime that we do. But when you have a society where it's been ingrained in America, you're not going to get it out. There's just no way on earth that people are going to give up their guns. And I wouldn't give up mine.
I appreciate it, Larry. We appreciate it, man. We got to keep it moving. But I want to say this to you while you're still on the line. While I understand, I don't necessarily agree, but I understand where you're going with that. Where you lose me is every single incident that we cited were guns outside of the home. Virginia Tech, Colorado, the guy that shoots the kid in the backseat of the car and he says, stand your ground. Trayvon Martin. All of these incidences, the guy who shoots up his girlfriend, Javon Belcher, which of course we know was at home, but we got 470 something murders in Chicago, 450 something in Los Angeles, and over 350 in New York. And those weren't incidences inside somebody's home. This is gang violence, this is street violence, these people shooting people. So I understand protecting your home. I got a family, I got a house, I got a wife, and I got a daughter. But I ain't I can't roll like that. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We appreciate that, Larry. Thank you for calling. Thank you for supporting. We know you listen to us when you can. We appreciate it, brother.
All right, take it easy. Go good. Go Skins, man.
You got it, brother. Ain't no half stepping.
Yeah.
He's a Skins fan. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Big Rule, I'm gonna give you the final word on that.
I mean, it's simple, man. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. You have a gun in your house, like Larry said, that's cool. It's when you take the gun out of your house and you want to do some other stuff with it, that's where the problem lies.
Tony, final words on it?
Yeah, I mean, people do kill people, I guess. But, I think guns give people, kind of an extra push to do things that they probably wouldn't do. If you look at, the increased domestic violence where they are escalated to, homicides because they have a gun.
Carlton Banks?
Nothing at this time. I appreciate it, though.
Nothing at this time. All right. Well, everybody seems to not have nothing to say, so I won't say nothing at myself. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J. We're going to take our final break of the night. When we come back, we got our rants and we got our closings, and I got a sneaky suspicion it's going to be live up in here. Marcus J. Ain't no hashtag and be back in a minute.
You were trying to end it. That's why.
What's up? This is Nate Jones, formerly of the Cowboys, Dolphins, Broncos, and Patriots. Just want to give a shout out to the fellas over there. Ain't no half stepping. Love the show. Keep up the good work, guys.
New Cupid.